Turn on it.
Episode 28, Two Dudes Sitting in a Sports Podcast.
Welcome to Two Dudes Sitting in a Sports Bar podcast. Four dudes now.
Four dudes.
It's
Four
like
dudes.
a turnstile
Yeah,
just
it-
of
Non-stop, just a brand new fresh face coming in. We got Tyler Bernadette in here today at the Upstairs Bar and Grill here in St. John and Cruz Bay. Welcome to the podcast, Tyler. How's it going?
Thanks for having me, guys. This is really the only reason why I flew down here was to be part of this, so
Yep.
I'm very fortunate and appreciative to be here today.
Flew in yesterday. Now you do have a little bit of a history with St. John, right? You lived down here for how long?
I did 4 winters here in my early 20s, and I actually used to bartend up here when it was Doghouse, so it's nice to see what Upstairs has done, and happy to be back.
Sounds good. Well, welcome to the shit show.
Are you gonna talk that the entire time, like in a business voice?
Yeah.
Or-
Are you here to talk about?
And also with you.
yeah.
Have
Are you
not
here to
seen
talk
it?
about Providence Friars NIT placement?
We
or-
got a big one today. If we beat Creighton, I don't know. They might
that
be
was
dancing.
that was for that Clemson dig earlier, by the way.
That's fair.
Well,
We're a lock already, sir, so it doesn't matter. That game was nothing.
You
Fuck
lost
Boston.
to BC. Yeah.
Yeah,
come
dude.
on.
Listen,
that kid couldn't miss.
I know.
He is the biggest Friars fan that I know. Like, everything that he posts online, you're either going to Providence games or coming back. So when we started this podcast, you started sending messages to the Two Dudes Instagram thing that was just like, I got to get on this podcast between the 13th and 20th of
Well,
March.
hang on. In his defense, there's really not much to do in Providence.
That's our ticket. That's our pro sports team. There's Christmas, and then there's March Madness.
Oh, you get that submarine museum. That's kind of cool.
That is kind of cool.
Yeah. And that fire water thing.
And we got the rest of the stuff that's on the shirt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
The only thing
that's
that
Rhode Island for you.
The only thing that I've ever done in Providence was we did a Alice in Wonderland like treasure hunt thing, where it was one of those. It was like the Pokemon Go, where literally you would walk to one spot, you'd find a clue, and then go to the next one. Everybody dressed up for Alice in Wonderland except for us. And
Sounds like mushrooms.
everybody else was like 15 years old too. So we were in the car and we
Now
actually,
mushrooms sound creepy.
Yeah.
I imagine.
No, we
I
were-
imagine Felix was wearing that Alice on Acid shirt.
I
No,
imagine it was Felix's idea.
He was wearing
Yeah.
his nice dressed up outfit and everything like that. And we were also drinking Dr. McGillicuddy's on the way there. So
Ooh,
we
my
were-
favorite.
So good stuff. Well, anyway, since the last time that we met, we didn't get into any March Madness. We talked about the Oakland A's stadium, so I think we're going to get into that a little bit. Before we started, we had few takes on the NBA right now, and I saw a few things that. Mainly, I want to get into the Lakers because they're looking old.
No one wants to talk about the NBA.
You want to talk about the NBA?
No, I said no one wants to talk about the NBA.
No, I
and not
really-
Mr. NBA.
I just
really-
watched
when
it and I
you
was
s-
disgusted.
When you said we're going to talk about the NBA, I almost like visibly sighed and said, "Do we have to?"
I may
like,
gloss over it, but at the same time, it's March Madness season.
It's Pi Day, 3/14, dude.
Happy Pie Day.
What's your favorite kind of pie?
Moon pies.
If I get an apple pie, I have to have a scoop of vanilla ice cream with it.
How wholesome of you.
I think I'd have to
Yeah.
go with that. I'm pretty basic.
It's an Ohio thing.
Yeah, probably.
Well, yeah, it gets cold, and for a while, whether you guys believe it or not, I went through a phase where I was making apple pies at home by the
See,
scratch.
I'd prefer a good peach cobbler,
A
I'm
good
a
peach
pumpkin
cobbler's
pie
good.
guy.
and I'm going to call that a pie because it's close enough. It's,
Don't call it a stew or soup or whatever the. Yeah.
I'm not a
Point
big.
of controversy down here, buddy.
Is a chowder a soup?
Yeah, it
Technically,
was,
it was a dip, I believe.
Is a
no,
hot
I'm
is
sorry,
a
that
hot
was
dog
that
a
was
sandwich?
That was
Yeah.
a buffalo chicken dip.
I think a hot dog could qualify as a sandwich.
I think it is. Yeah.
A burger definitely is.
No, it's a hot dog's a taco. Everyone knows that.
Taco's a sandwich.
Silly me.
Taco's a
No,
sandwich.
a taco's a taco.
It's a
Okay.
Mexican sandwich.
But what if you put all the toppings of a taco inside of a bun?
Wait, so what's I'm missing?
that's a
Let's go back to
sloppy
the
Joe.
soup. I'm missing the point of contention.
Okay, so when we did the Super Bowl, the main rule, and this had been advertised for weeks, was no stews, no chilies.
Fair.
Outside of that, fine. Chowder's fine.
A stew is a soup.
No.
No.
There's a liquid
fine
there's a
line,
liquid to solid
yeah.
ratio
The
that must
viscosity,
be there.
yeah.
So if flour is involved, is it not a soup?
That's not it at all.
okay.
It's
I
a
was gonna
it's
say,
a
'cause
if like
chowder's a soup.
if you can eat it with a fork, it's not a soup.
Have you ever had a thick New England clam chowder that you could eat with a fork?
Like, did you eat with that with a fork to prove a point?
But they give you a spoon.
They gave
If
you
you're
a
eating
spoon,
if soup with a fork, we got a whole nother ball.
which
game.
is
Yeah,
why
that's-
you shouldn't be able to eat fucking soup
Well, hey,
with
this
the fork.
conversation is forking terrible. So,
Yeah, let's
March Madness, huh?
Yeah, March Madness. This is the first time ever that I actually know more about the women's bracket than I do about the men's bracket. And it's been a while since I followed any kind of college hoops.
We're feminists here.
Well, I walked in, and Mooney was immediately talking about a few things. I noticed that Kansas lost to Cincinnati,
Kansas got whacked.
which
20.
I couldn't believe was real.
Time out. They sat their two best players to keep them
one
healthy
kid,
for
one
the
kid did
tournament.
have a bad
Okay,
shoulder.
so they could pick up like a 6 seed or something like that, or
No, they'll still
They'll
be
be
they'll still
fine.
be like a 3 or 4.
even so, I'd say a
It
20
was
20
no,
point
dude,
shellacking at this part of the
one
season.
they sat like the player of the year possible. Like they got the dude Hunter Dickinson who transferred from Michigan last year.
Was-
Okay.
And then they sat another very good player.
Okay.
Their top two leading
Fair
scorers
enough.
didn't play.
Like I said, this has been like the least of my expertise this current year. But also at the bar, everybody was talking about, they're like, who is the favorite to win the tournament? And I said, I honestly have no idea.
The
Kentucky.
answer,
I am all in on Kentucky.
I like Kentucky. I think Kentucky's deep. I like UConn. I put all my chips on the table for UConn last year. Obviously, I'm biased as a Big East guy. But watching UConn, I think they are the most complete team in the tournament. They're deep, they're big, they're fast, they have good guard play, and guard play wins tournament games.
Hot take right now.
I like
UConn loses today to Xavier.
That is a hot take. He said that as soon as I
As
walked
soon
up
as
the
I
We've been
walked
stairs.
talking about it since yesterday.
But
I
that's the
think
Big East. I mean, that's the beauty of that conference. It's a bunch of pit bulls. You never know what's going to happen.
I'm just glad it's back.
The number one overall seed is Purdue right now.
It's
they
Purdue.
They are the favorites to win it. I think Houston they have as the other
Yeah.
number one. And Houston's, hey, they're in the Big 12 now. Like that's not, and they won the Big 12, which is I think they're saying 6 or 7 Big 12 teams in the tournament
they're
this year.
deep. And
You
then,
got
there's
Baylor.
teams you don't
Baylor's
even
gonna be
realize
tough.
that are in the Big 12, like West Virginia, even Cincinnati. I forgot was in the Big 12.
Yeah, I had no idea that they rearranged the conferences like that because at this current moment, all the conferences are
Well,
way different from the football
The
conferences.
Big
so
12,
I completely
Big
forget.
12 kind of snuck in there a year before because once they knew Texas and Oklahoma were going SEC, they were like, all right, fucking see ya.
Yeah.
Like we're getting, hey, you're gonna have to play
Applications
Houston.
are open. Yeah.
Yep.
And they just kind of jumped the gun on all that realignment. And good for them because now that's a good middle of the country conference that they might not have had if they waited a year or two to when like the ACC had to pick up fucking Stanford and Cal, which is like I
Yeah,
would have
that's
much
gonna
rather
be,
had Houston. You know,
Yeah.
especially with getting SMU, it's like cool. We should have gotten fucking Houston and UCF.
Yeah. Well, I
Who's
mean,
also in the Big 12.
for the
UCF's
most
the largest school in Florida. Did you know that?
yeah, I did. In area and
And enrollment. I
and
did not
enrollment
know
too.
that.
Yeah,
I had no idea either. But the only thing that I've
it
been
might
hearing.
be the largest school in the country.
They might be.
But like it's like Penn State satellites might be like weird.
What is
or,
that, like 60,000 students?
It's I think pushing 70 at least. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Well, did you say Penn State counts like all their satellite campuses, like Penn State Barron and all that
Possibly
crap?
if they do.
All right, that would make sense because they have a shitload of those. Because going to a Division III school, that's all we heard about. It's like, ooh, we have Penn State on the schedule. Barron.
Not the
That's-
real
yeah,
Penn
not
State,
the
yeah.
same thing. Not the same thing at all. But I'm kind of on board with Tyler with this because all year, really, I've only been hearing about UConn. It seems like they've been the most consistent. Them and Houston, and UConn, their last few losses have been to ranked teams. I think Creighton had their first ever
Creighton
number
beat them a
one
couple weeks
overall
ago.
victory or against a number one overall team.
There's just so much parity in just across college basketball. And we've been hitting on the last couple of weeks about how you have guys staying now because they're not getting paid, and like Big East's back. I love it. It's not the same like clanging and banging.
When they
80s, 90s Big East, but
When
they are getting there.
when
Like,
they
there was some
disbanded it.
chippiness last night in these games. You know, just something about a Madison Square Garden game at noon on a Wednesday.
Yep.
That it is, man, my favorite time of year.
when they disbanded the Big East, however many years ago that was, drove me nuts because when I played a lot of basketball, that was my favorite conference tournament that they ran, more than the ACC tournament when they would have it in Greensboro. But there was just something about the Madison Square Garden tournament that I watched that with more heart than I watched any of the NCAA tournament. Especially the last huge game, which they had the anniversary of, was that Syracuse Georgetown game that went to 6 overtimes.
UConn. That was Syracuse UConn.
Sure,
That
sure,
was
sure,
Kemba
Kemba
Walker.
That was actually
Kemba Walker,
yesterday.
Yeah.
There's the anniversary yesterday. I was at that game. 6
That's a-
overtimes. Eric Devendorf
Yes.
hits a 3 in the corner, stands up on the stanchion in front of everybody, and they call the shot off.
Wave it off, yeah.
Doesn't count.
6 overtimes. That was
Yep.
nuts.
That wasn't even the championship.
PC
game, was it?
PC
That was like, that
PC
was
had
what
gotten
they
blown
needed,
They had to play the
but
next
they
day.
but they needed to win the championship to
Correct.
To get
make
in.
the tournament,
Yeah.
Yep.
and then they ended up winning that tournament. They won the
Correct.
whole thing, right? That year.
That was Kemba Walker, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was Kemba Walker.
That's when he crossed over the guy from Pitt.
really
with,
bad.
like,
One of the worst
nastiest
crossovers of all time.
crossovers. PC had gotten blown out by Louisville early in that day. That guy Sosa. They did this 2-2-1 press. We lost by like 25 points. But that's the beauty of the Big East. I think this year they had a lot of storylines. You have Rick Pitino coming back into the fold, going to New York.
Quick Rick.
You have Rick Pitino wearing a white suit in Madison.
We talked about that last week.
We talked about it. It was
How
just
cool was it? He looked like last time a guy wore a white suit and got away with it was Colonel Sanders. But
And-
Rick Pitino pulls it off.
No,
It was more of a cream, like an off-white.
Yeah. How is St. John's doing this year? Because I just know that Rick Pitino
They're right on the
coaches there.
bubble. I think they're right on the
They
bubble.
have him in the play-in game as an 11 seed in the latest bracketology. Playing Clemson, actually.
Playing Clemson.
Clemson
Okay.
versus St. John's. I don't know who to root for.
You have
Your head might explode. Yeah.
I mean, you have the defending
It's big
national champion in UConn. I'm putting all my chips on the table for UConn. I absolutely hate Dan Hurley. I think the guy needs Xanax. I think he needs. I can't stand him. But you have to tip your cap. They're a great team. You know, you have a new young coach at Providence, Kim English, who's a pro. He's been getting 5-star recruits over there. You have Ed Cooley, who went from Providence to Georgetown.
Wow, you do know a
I was
shitload
gonna
about
say,
this, don't
do
you?
want to talk about that? What were they throwing at him?
Well, if there's one silver lining in the season for the Friars, it's that we got to beat our former coach 3 times this year. PC ended up knocking off Georgetown the first game of the Big East tournament last night. It's tough. I mean, it's tough to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. If somebody comes to you and they say, "Hey, Casey, we're going to give you $5 million a year to coach 18-year-olds," it's hard pressed for me to say
what do
no.
you think about that? You got
There's
any
a joke
jokes or
there
anything to
somewhere.
come back with that?
18-year-old women, right?
It is spring break down here in St. John.
Oh, I haven't
Casey's
noticed.
not getting paid $5 million for that.
No.
Yeah, just a fraction
Hoping
of
for
that,
5.
The worst part is it's this. It's how it happened. I feel like the transition could have went a lot different. It was right around this time last year that PC was playing Kentucky in the tournament. It was the Bryce Hopkins reunion game. Bryce Hopkins was a transfer. He was a prime talent, 5-star former recruit, transferred from Kentucky to Providence, and they're going into the tournament facing up. It was great. The storylines were fantastic. The entire narrative of the conversation was, are you going to be the coach of Providence next year? Stuff had leaked to the media about him putting his house on the market. Stuff had leaked to the media about him potentially taking a Georgetown job. And I feel like that was a huge distraction. You know, if you're a player and you're going into a tournament, one of the best times of the year, and you think your coach has a foot out the door, how do you react? How do you respond to that?
Yeah, see, I love this because I didn't know that there was all this drama back building off of the entire story of this.
But I feel like
And-
that's benefited the Big East branch. It's always been known as like a bruiser, blue-collar conference. and
Yeah.
I think they'll probably, what do you think, 6 teams in this year? 5 or 6 at least.
Let's see if
see.
Butler gets
Let's
in.
go through.
They
I mean,
might be sneaking
Creighton
7.
probably-
Well,
Creighton,
would you say,
UConn,
would you say the Big East
Creighton,
is the
Marquette.
strongest conference right now as far as
Xavier,
basketball?
Marquette for
I
sure.
think Xavier gets in. Butler, I think, can sneak in there.
Butler's, Seton Hall, you have to put Seton
Yeah,
Hall
Seton
in.
Hall's right there.
Shaheen Holloway's done an amazing job. Shaheen Holloway, I think he actually won Coach of the Year for the Big East Conference.
So actually, I didn't even know that Butler was in the Big East because the last time I watched, they were in like the Horizon League with
Syracuse-
Cleveland
well, if you
State
remember,
and-
if you remember Shaheen Holloway, he had that magical run with St. Peter's.
that I
Yeah.
didn't.
The guy, the
Oh,
guy.
I had St. Peter's in my tournament.
So
I was
a New
big-
Jersey school,
yeah.
Shaheen Holloway is a Seton Hall graduate. It was a natural progression
Was
to
that-
take over that job.
Were they the St. Peter's Pelicans, or what were they?
I don't know, that's a great mascot.
I feel like they were the St. Peter's Pelicans.
there was the guy Doug that had the mustache. He ended
Yeah.
up transferring to Bryant University in Rhode
You
Island.
know what? I do now that you explain that guy. I'm starting to remember a little bit about St. Peter's. Did they come in as a 15 or 16
St.
seed
Peter's,
or something?
it
Or they-
was,
Okay.
yeah, it was. St. Peter's was almost. It wasn't quite as magical as like the Loyola Chicago run that we saw a couple years ago
Right.
with the nun, but it was. It
Oh,
was
yeah.
a great
Is
story.
she still
They were-
alive?
Probably. They never.
Yeah?
Did, yeah.
They still wheel her into the game.
Still waiting on that national championship.
Trotting her out.
It's a lot of prayer.
The old
That's-
Jimmy
I mean,
Carter
that's-
just, yeah. Hey.
That's my favorite part of March Madness is just watching like those runs like that, like going back to what was that, George Mason?
George Mason back in
when
what,
George
04?
Mason, up
Florida
to,
Gulf Coast.
Dunk City?
VCU.
Yeah, VCU
Dunk
when
City.
Shaka Smart was there.
Wichita-
Come to find out, he's the Marquette head coach.
Wichita State almost beat Kansas in
Yeah.
the championship fucking game.
Shockers.
Which was then crazy because they were a 1 seed the next year, and it's like,
that was
well,
No, you're not.
All right.
No, you're not.
I mean, but they did win. They went like 32-1, but they went
Yeah.
32-1 with the Wichita State, and it's like this team should be that good.
One of those guys in college basketball, one of those white guys in college
Ron
basketball
Baker.
that I felt like he was there for 9 years. Ron Baker. He
He's
would
a doctor.
never go away.
Yeah.
Jerry McNamara.
Nah,
It's-
dude went
Jerry
first. Dude
McNamara
went to the
was a
Knicks
good one.
first round.
McNamara?
Ron Baker.
Oh.
Ron Baker, yeah. I mean, he didn't do shit for the Knicks, but
Remember Vin Baker, Celtics great?
Legendary drunk.
Yeah, he's a
Vin and tonic.
My-
That's what they call them.
he's a
My
coach
number
of the Bucks
42
now or
jersey?
something, right?
Yeah.
I have no idea. Which I won't touch NBA. I won't get into that.
No, I'm just saying we had so much to talk about that. We really didn't get over much last week.
No.
we kind of went off the rails, guys.
No.
Sorry, I know you guys weren't here, but it was a sight to be had, as they say.
But also, I still do want to get into women's college basketball too, because, like I said, a lot going on with
Hot
that.
take central.
I've got a hot Caitlin Clark take that might.
Also, yeah, Mooney
I
loves
have-
Caitlin Clark.
Mine's an opposite.
You know my Caitlin Clark take.
I don't.
No.
I'm excited.
Well, I mean, she broke the record. We had a brawl, which was, I thought, hysterical because one
How about
team
nobody
was very.
how about knowing the rules? That even the announcers just like, all right, so everybody's suspended for the next game too.
Yeah, they had
That would have been a number one and two number one seeds essentially, playing with 5 players in the women's tourney for the first round. That's insane.
It would have been hilarious. I know some of them are suspended for. I
The
think
hot- the hot
two of
take-
the players only got suspended for the next game.
Yeah, but
So
The
yeah,
hot
first
take is
round.
that is good for women's college sports.
It is.
It is. Why?
you get
Because
nods on the product, but I mean,
it's not a good look. At the end of the day, I'll
It's
tell
not a
you
good marketing look, but people are going to watch.
what, people are going to watch.
Where I didn't see the fight, was it LSU?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Holy shit.
LSU and
The principles of
South
detection.
Carolina, yeah.
Awesome.
South Carolina.
yeah, don't have an Imus take. Just do not have a Don
Oh,
Imus
no,
take.
we're good. I fucking love Angel Reese. I feel like whatever.
Well, that was
Well-
okay. So this was part of the fight. Was South Carolina's got a woman that's 6'8", I think. They said
Yeah.
she was
Brazilian.
6'8". Yeah, and she knocked over one of LSU's guards who was acting up. She was the one that actually kind of started
and
it. 'cause she
actually, LSU they were hair pulling the entire game. They were playing dirty, and
so there's less than a minute left on the clock. The game was seemingly over. LSU's guard fouls this girl really without going for the ball. It was kind of a
It was
dirty.
intentional, yeah.
It wasn't in college. It could be an intentional foul, but it wasn't anything like ridiculous. Well, she does that. The South Carolina teammates come up and start getting in her face. She bumps somebody pretty hard, and then this giant woman comes over and knocks her to the ground,
Yeah.
like completely decleats her. It was actually really funny if you watch it. And then the comments after the game were, what's LSU's coach's name?
Mulkey?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was just like, I wish you would have done that to Angel Reese. And I was like,
I wish you would have done
I kind of
Angel
wish
Reese
you would have
too.
too.
Yeah,
It would have been
'cause
a
that lady
really,
stinks.
really
Kim
interesting
Mulkey's
fight.
doing good in the Bayou. I think she gets paid $3.25 million
Baltimore.
annually.
3.2. What's that?
Angel Reese is from Baltimore. She will kill you.
That's what I'm saying.
You ever watch The Wire? You don't mess with Baltimore
He
people.
has never
He's
seen
never seen
The
The Wire.
Wire.
Never seen The Wire?
Oh God, is this week 1 all over again?
It's not Boogie.
Are we hopping back into this?
Speaking of hot
That's-
back
that's-
into this.
Yeah. Speaking of hot takes,
Yeah.
Speaking of heartburn,
yeah, it's a cinnamon whiskey, and we're gonna call that it until they start paying us.
sponsoring us. Not bad.
Well, why don't we take a little break? Hop back more into college hoops.
I've got a good idea for like I don't want to do it like on a large scale, but between us for a good March Madness like competition between us.
I'm all for
And
this.
I'll talk about it. I'll talk about it next break.
Ooh,
Are
nice.
you guys going to do a two guys sitting in a sports bar in the VI's bracket?
So
It's possible.
I don't do just real quick before the break. I don't do a regular bracket. I do a survivor pool.
Survivor
So
pool is
it's
great.
The head-to-head elimination pool. So it's random draw.
Is it based off of the spread?
spreads?
I like that.
Which, to
I
tell you
got,
the
I,
truth,
got, I got like 15 spots left. If you want in,
I'm in.
$50 a team. I'll set you up over the break.
Brilliant.
setting up with a cliffhanger.
And you guys thought that Tyler wouldn't know anything. It was going to freeze up. I told you
I
my
never
man's got
said
it.
that.
I told you
I
my
never
man's
said that. He's got a
coming
very
on.
nice
This man-
professional voice.
This
he knows
man
what he's
was
talking
my
about on camera.
manager for when my short-lived career as an influencer,
Yeah, well,
which I guess is back.
The Weston still owes us money for the
Yeah,
amount
dude,
of
for
content that we
that
produce
was
for
a
that.
lot
I
of
think that we are
content.
content creators. You know?
That's a-
We're content providers.
No, we create our
No, that's
content.
Comcast.
I'm sorry. I'm trying.
That's Verizon.
Oh, boy. Also, they don't back us either. So
Yeah, they
we'll
don't
get into
work
that.
here.
It's all
Man,
about
we
fire
almost
here.
had a good out there, but
Yeah,
no.
sounds good.
Whatever.
Yeah.
We'll take it out in post.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. And we're back to Two Dudes Sitting at a Sports Bar
Four
podcast.
dudes.
4 dudes. 4 big dudes.
4 all
at a
day.
podcast.
For men.
At the Upstairs Bar and Grill, where we have, get this, we have 7 TVs, so we can broadcast every single NCAA game here. Throwing that out there.
I got to tap in real quick. You guys have done an incredible job with this bar. Like the layout,
Well, hey,
the spacing,
it's
the
talk to-
deck.
Well, that's more so Andrew
Got
and
the-
our
it's
buddy
awesome.
Andy over
Our
there.
buddy Andy who's sitting over there.
Yeah.
How many times behind
If
that
Andy
old-
gets a piece of wood on his hand, he's going to expand it.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Super Bowl. Yeah.
Respectfully.
Oh,
There
my
we go.
God.
Perfectly.
That's a good one.
I get it. Nice.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll go down in the holster.
We went to break. We were talking a little bit about NIL deals, which I know we've talked about it a lot over the course of the last few weeks, but it seems to have there's a different story with it every single week. Last week we were talking about it because it's definitely helping college basketball because it's making a lot of these kids stay for a longer amount of time. You were actually bringing up the point that it's kind of nice because these smaller programs can get bigger name recruits. However, they have to put more of their budget on specific kids.
Well, I think about go back to the time with Ohio State, right, where
Oh,
they did the trade signatures for tattoos.
Yeah.
Who was
Yeah,
that?
yeah. It was Maurice Claret.
It was Maurice Claret.
I mean, there were a couple of them. It was
Heisman
Terrell Pryor as well.
Terrell Pryor.
It was Scooty
So-
Penn. It
so-
was like a lot.
So think about
Penn,
this,
wow.
right?
Yeah.
If you're an 18, 19-year-old kid, you go to university, you are getting leverage left and right. You are making this university and the NCAA millions and millions of dollars. But you can't afford to take your girlfriend out on a date. You can't afford to pay for
Those dudes had girlfriends. Dude, there were so many white women flocking around those guys. Dude.
All right, I'm gonna rescue Casey real quick, but respectfully,
Okay, good. You can say anything you want now that you said respectfully.
as long as you say that.
Yeah.
It NIL should have and could have been a big thing for a long time. I feel like the NCAA regulated it to a point where Mark Emmert shot himself in the foot. I like the fact that we have a Massachusetts guy in charge now. I feel like the NCAA is still a very contentious thing right now. But I feel like if I put my name on a jersey and I'm making money for another institution, how can I not capitalize on this?
No, totally fair. For
that-
2 reasons. One, I rewatched the Johnny Manziel documentary. If you get a chance to watch that, it's great because he is full disclosure. He was just like, hell yeah. He's just like at the time. He's just like He's like, I got my parents to make up a story that they came from oil money in order for me to collect money off those autographs. And he said the same thing.
Yeah,
He's like,
very very laissez-faire though. I gotta say,
Yeah.
looking at the Johnny Manziel thing, it's a little too laissez-faire for me. Do you agree with that?
I don't know what laissez-faire means.
Hands
Like-
off.
Like hands off.
Yeah.
Like I don't give a shit.
But at the same
He's
time,
good for the sport.
it's-
Let's
but-
look at the ratings. Do we want to investigate that in that much?
It's-
Like he was a
Like,
product of his environment.
yeah, and I'm talking about
he
it's
really was.
It is, and it's the mentality of it too, because he literally was going, somebody wants your autograph for $100. He's like, you know what? No, not worth my time. But as soon as somebody goes, hey, I'll give you $3,000 for an hour to sign all these
And they go to
things,
a trade
and
show.
you're 19,
Yeah.
and it's like yes, and then the next one they go, we're going to give you $30,000, and then all of a sudden they're going to give you $100,000. It's like I mean, I'm 37 right now, so I have the presence of mind to go, okay, in the moment. No, but if I'm 20 years old, yes,
Are
of
you
course
saying-
I'm doing
Are you
that.
saying you wouldn't sign autographs for $100,000 for an hour right now?
Right now, yes. No. But I'm saying with
Hey,
the frame of mind that I
hey,
have,
Andy.
if it was within the
Your last
rules.
name is
Andrew,
4
you're-
letters. You
Andrew-
better sign.
Andrew, yeah, exactly. Just
You're
a B and
gonna
a squiggle.
you're gonna lose this job, but you're gonna make.
I'll tell you what.
$100,000 in
See,
an
all
hour.
right. So let's
what am I signing?
moving into NFL. You see what happened with Baker Mayfield this week with the Bucks.
You got paid, dude.
But Baker Mayfield reminds me of what Johnny Manziel potentially could have been had he had
As
the
a Cleveland
drive.
fan, I will say that was the very first comparison that came out. When
And
he went
I
to the
will tip
Browns.
my cap. You have to tip
Did
your
you
cap to
see
Baker
the,
Mayfield. You do.
Did you see the little
little
chyron
tidbit?
that came up on there?
Like a 10 out of 10 prick or something.
It was like Bucks GM says Baker Mayfield is a 10 on the prick scale.
You know why? That's a good negotiator. He didn't
That's true.
He didn't ask what they were going to pay him. He told them what they were going to pay him.
I believe he won didn't they win a playoff? They definitely won. They beat the
Yeah,
Eagles.
Yeah, and
They beat the Eagles.
yeah,
I'll tell you what,
they beat
I'm-
the Eagles and they made a run
If
against
stock is
Detroit.
available, I'm buying Baker Mayfield stock.
Hey,
I've been on his train the entire time he was in Cleveland. His last season had a bum shoulder. They wouldn't re-sign him. They took care of Chubb, Miles
He
Garrett.
probably should have
everybody
gotten a
like that.
massage.
There is just
Probably. He needs to follow the Deshaun
If-
Watson trade.
if I
Which,
was-
by the way, we have Jameis Winston now, so
Yeah.
crab legs in Cleveland. It's-
Flacco to the Colts. Is that?
Yeah, I saw that.
Right? Yeah.
Let's talk about
my-
Jacoby Brissett back to the Pats.
Woohoo! The Brissett era is back.
Is that their...
One last thing on Baker Mayfield. If I was the Bucks GM, I would have included a no commercial clause in that contract because that was where
The
shit
commercials
started.
were terrible.
yes,
No,
yeah.
the commercials were great.
Were they?
There were just so dude. He was
The one
he
the
was
empty
a better
stadium, yeah.
that last season. He was a better actor than he was a quarterback.
He was Jake from Steak Farm.
yeah, but he made so many. He made more commercials than touchdowns.
Casey, as your former manager, we could have capitalized on these type of opportunities. I wanted you to be with Allstate. I wanted you to be with Red Bull. I wanted you to be with this cinnamon delicious whiskey that we just enjoyed.
Did he listen, though?
No, he
He tried to go for strawberry daiquiris.
he was a Johnny Manziel. He was laissez-faire. Strawberry daiquiris, though.
I mean,
What a
strawberry
tasty treat.
strawberry daiquiris at the Weston Pool.
What's your
I don't
guilty
want-
pleasure drink, Mooney? You're on a vacation. Nobody knows
Coors
what you're
Light.
ordering. You don't have to order a Budweiser and a Jameson. You don't have to be a
So
big guy.
I was over on St. Thomas Friday for an event with my wife, and coming back, I had a pina colada at the ferry dock, waiting for. I see because everything's closed. I see some with some sugar, and I was like, "God damn it! I have not had a frozen drink."
Did it bring you back to
In
your very
5
first
years,
time?
maybe?
First
Yeah.
time in the Caribbean when
The
that
first
was
time, like,
And it was delicious,
ever,
wasn't
yeah.
it?
I mean, I'm 41, and I probably.
you probably
I couldn't even tell you the last time I had it. Maybe like Miami, like in 2000.
you probably gassed that
10?
thing too, didn't you?
Oh yeah, well, it was Heather was working too, so she was like,
I'll take two
I
straws.
go, I'll take a. She went to go grab Jameson, and then
Something
I go,
pinged in your head.
I
and
go,
were
you
like,
know what? I go, I'll take a pina colada.
So-
and I sat there and like Megan's looking at me and she's like, God damn it, that looks fucking good. I go, yeah, you want some? And I
So-
sat there and it was fantastic. So, Casey, I am coming back around on that. Maybe a Miami Vice. That's kind of my.
Wow.
Well,
guilty
that was
pleasure. If I'm somewhere where nobody knows me, you know.
so on this jam cruise I was just on. They had BBCs in the fucking soft.
Oh, yeah.
soft serve
that
machine.
is my
a Miami
favorite frozen
Vice,
drink down here.
a
My
Miami
God,
Vice is
those-
not bad
those
to
are-
order. if
those
it's
are
on tap.
liquid
best.
candy.
Just
When you order
that gets
one
the
at a
banana,
time.
the banana
Oh, yeah.
Bailey's colada.
Yeah.
They had it in the machine, and they did it like specifically. That was like the cruise drink, and it was like
Casey, how
oh,
many
are
of these
$10.
BBCs did you have?
I actually was, dude. I only ate at the salad bar for a bunch. No, I'm serious.
I didn't ask about what you ate. I asked about how many cocktails.
Over
you
the
had.
course of 5 days, 5.
5? That's not bad.
I had.
You can't
40
drink too many of them.
I had.
You can't.
so
no,
it's
you
sugar.
can't drink too
Nobody's a
many of them.
counter. We don't need to be a counter.
I
though.
had
It
maybe.
hurts though.
You're on
You don't,
vacation,
you don't have to count.
Okay.
You can feel it.
I will say this: I had 5 BBCs, and everything else I drank was vodka vodka sodas. All the drinks were $10. My bar tab was $800. So that's how many vodka sodas I had.
Hey, hey.
It was 5 over the course of 5 days. It was hot.
It's like 200 fucking sodas.
It was hot.
I said nobody likes a counter. We're not counting.
It was hot. I was hydrating. There's ice and there's soda water in the vodka sodas. They were only pouring me singles, the stateside singles. Dude,
lame.
I was.
All right, so
high
it was a lot of
seas.
it was a lot of
Yeah.
soda then.
I
Okay.
was using performance enhancing drugs at the time as well. So like, if I'm
It-
on PEDs, I can drink 20 vodka sodas a day.
That's reflective of how nice your toes look right now.
Hey, thanks, bud.
Exactly. Well, anyway,
That's
hopping-
gunmetal.
hopping-
That is
hopping back into-
gunmetal for the
hopping
camera.
back
That's a
into
man's toe
counting.
color.
I want to talk to Kirk Cousins' agent because apparently the man is the smartest man
Who keeps
alive.
paying this guy?
I have no idea.
Would you not have minded Kirk Cousins if he came to the Patriots?
I would have taken Kirk Cousins.
I would have taken
He-
Kirk Cousins too as a New England fan.
Yeah.
I've heard everything
Just a game manager.
Everything
a
about-
steady Eddie.
Did you
about a
watch-
professional. I heard he is the most consummate professional in the NFL. He's got like 1 million kids, right?
He's
yeah,
Phillip
he's super
Rivers.
Christian-y.
He's super.
Well, that's
he's
Philip
super
Rivers,
good,
but
Yeah.
still.
But
They-
do
they
you want him
love
for
their
45 million? 45 million a year?
Well,
Is that the answer though?
no, the
Especially
Pats-
at this stage of his
that's
career.
like par for the course now, though.
The Pats are
I
going to
understand
draft.
that, but is that what you want in New England at the time?
No, the Pats are going to draft,
Oh, of course.
and they're going to take.
Are they going to
They
take the
don't-
quarterback?
and
or
They're
they
going to
don't
take. No, they're going to go Drake May. I'm telling you.
Pats don't have the weapons for Kirk Cousins
And it's
now.
going to be.
Yeah.
It's going to be
Like
Mac
the
Jones
Falcons, too.
2.0.
yeah.
Falcons signed my guy Darnell Mooney.
Yeah.
Cousin,
So are-
cousin
3 years,
D.
39.
So-
26 guaranteed for the Moon Man.
He came in and he was so excited because he was just like, hey, guess what? He's just like cousin Darnell. probably going to the Patriots. And I'm like, you better order your jersey
My
now before
dreams were
everybody.
dashed, dude.
But you also said that he's like, I don't want to get the jersey once he's here
Cousin
because people
D.
think I bought it for him. It clearly would have
No, they're
been
gonna
for
think
you.
I'm some asshole that had it made for my own last name.
Well, you know what? Keep
Like I'm a
rocking the
child.
Bears jersey.
It's like my birthday or something.
You got to know the number before you get it.
Yeah. Well, no, I also.
We
Yeah.
can guess.
It's
11's taken. It's retired.
it's
Drew
pretty
Bledsoe.
interesting now because I feel like the most important thing when it comes to sports negotiations now is guaranteed money.
Oh, of course.
So if you think about the narrative that have changed, it's like I don't want the long-term contract. I don't care about anything else except for the guarantee. If I tear my ACL, I want my money. I want my
yeah,
bottom line.
I would like to say, especially running backs.
Especially
Especially running
well,
backs.
running backs right now. I mean, the market is shot. Look at all the transition that happened.
Oh, look at Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry.
going
Derrick
to
Henry only got what?
fucking Ravens?
8? What? He
Yeah.
could just get $8 million a year or something like that.
$10 million guaranteed.
Yeah, but
First
Yeah.
year,
Just fine.
10
I
million.
guarantee nobody trusts to rob Derrick Henry in Baltimore.
No,
No.
well, no. That as a
No,
Bra-
no, no, no,
as a
no.
Have you ever
Browns
seen The
fan-
Wire?
No.
I still
have
can't
to.
believe that. Like, you want to come over later and just
As
you know.
as a Browns
We
fan,
got some
now,
homework.
the-
We got
the
some
Ra-
homework for
yeah.
Andrew.
Baltimore,
Season 2
not
we
the
slept
Wire.
on, I'll tell you
The
that.
Ravens actually scare me now. They actually scare me. They're starting to look really. Now they have the two probably best weapons as far as backfield with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry back there.
they still need a receiver.
Actually, you want to talk about a good person to negotiate your contract? It's Lamar Jackson. just wait and go.
bet on himself.
Bob.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson's mom.
Yes. Yeah. Which I don't think she's taking 10%.
You ever see the Bugs Bunny meme?
Probably
where
50.
It's just like Bugs Bunny blowing no.
Yes. Where it's
That was the entire negotiation for Lamar Jackson.
Did
Yeah.
he actually
And
just
they
keep
said-
sending them that meme?
then-
Because that would
Probably.
be awesome. That'd be
I-
awesome. What a great negotiator! It's like I'm gonna come out here, keep on rocking in the free
I'm
world.
using gifts
and
and
anytime
memes and
you send me shit, all you get is the Bugs money. No.
Hang
No.
on, but that was one turned ankle, one bad tackle away from him being
Correct.
which we've been saying
Out
for
on
a
his
long
ass,
time, and
you know?
he's still against all the odds. He still is healthy. I'm
Speaking
shocked.
of poor contracts, I'd love to talk a little bit about Russell Wilson going to the Steelers. It's like if you buy a
That is a
2007
fire sale of Denver trying
Yes,
to create
it
cap
is.
space.
Well,
Yes.
here's my thought, right? You're looking on Facebook Marketplace. You feel very confident that you want to be a big baller. You buy a 2010 Range Rover with 212 miles.
212.
212.
Was it down here? Yeah.
Yeah, these
200
island miles.
Yeah, Island Miles.
How far are they drive? 212,000 miles, right? You buy it for 25 grand. So you look sporty. It's a great splash. You're parking this Range Rover in the driveway, but what's the functionality?
Hang on,
What
don't
does
we
he
know
do-
somebody in this bar right now that bought a Range Rover? Land Rovers. My bad.
I heard he makes a good darkened diet.
Well, I'll tell you what though, that is not a bad deal for the Steelers when you're going from Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph getting new life again with the Titans. That's a great deal for the Steelers. It's a good
Well,
experiment.
especially if the Broncos are paying $38 million of
yeah.
that contract,
and they
right?
have $80 million in dead cap, which is double.
Hey, Steelers, let's weld.
Yeah, exactly. That's
well,
what they're going to
you
have
saw
to
they,
do.
but
Stolen.
you saw
They
they
stealed him.
you saw they gave up Deontay Johnson for
Yes.
fucking circus peanuts, which I felt really good about the Jerry
Deontay
Jeudy.
Johnson was like, he was kind of a head case, so I'm not too
Was
sure
he?
about him.
I don't.
He could have been a hell
no,
of
that
a
was George.
receiver.
That was George Pickens. You're thinking George Pickens.
Maybe.
George Pickens,
George
is
Pickens
the
is solid,
crazy
yeah.
one. that they had.
Deontay Johnson was
Deontay
the one that
Jo-
said he was the best receiver in the NFL.
I get them all mixed up after
Whatever.
Antonio Brown.
Every fucking
Yeah.
receiver in the NFL needs to think they're the best receiver in the NFL. Otherwise, they should go play Canadian.
What is
football.
the biggest drama queen position in football?
What? It's wide receiver.
Is it wide receiver?
Yeah.
Oh God, it's
Yeah,
easily
it's wide receiver.
Terrell
I
Owens.
was gonna
Look
say
at
it starts with
fucking
T.O.
all these assholes. Like,
All right, so who's the number one then?
The number one drama queen.
Number one drama queen or number one receiver?
No, number one drama queen.
Well, you could say Terrell Owens, Antonio Brown,
CTE.
CT.
Respectfully.
CTE?
Oh, CTE. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah,
but
we don't
at
have
the
to
same
dive
time,
down that
it's-
rabbit hole.
No, let's not. But no. I mean, like, I feel like there's a swagger you need to play wide receiver in the NFL, where you need to come out and say like, I'm gonna beat this cornerback. I'm gonna beat him. I'm gonna beat this.
And
safety.
I
Fuck
think-
you. You can't
Well,
cover
it's
me.
like the Giants photo when they were all on the boat wearing Timberlands.
Odell
Everybody-
Beckham. Odell Beckham is a
OBJ.
huge
Viva.
drama queen. Okay.
Everybody knows when you step on a boat, you kick your sandals off. You don't walk onto a boat with shoes. Never mind Timberlands.
Also, don't take pictures.
Tyreek Hill. I wouldn't say he's a diva, but he's mouthy.
He's gonna tell you how much fucking better he is than everyone else.
Well, he should. I give him that.
See, that's the whole thing. But it's a mindset that you need to be a wide receiver, otherwise you're not going to be successful.
So this is a good transition. So you look at Tua, you look at Jalen Hurts, you look at all these Alabama quarterbacks that had such great success.
Mac Jones.
Mac Jones, and they're all other than like Tua's one season, they're all kind of fucking dunces. So is the Alabama effect gone now that Nick Saban's retired? And is their quarterback room as strong as maybe it was meant to be?
Alabama never.
Well, this is
Okay.
obviously a little biased.
If we're talking, no.
All time?
I mean, if we're talking all time, what they have? Kenny Stabler?
Joe Namath. Did he go to Alabama?
Did he?
I think so.
I mean, I maybe, but like not. I mean, okay. Joe Namath threw more interceptions than touchdowns in his fucking NFL
terrible.
career.
One of the
bad example.
He's
weirdest
there,
Hall of Famers
he's there
ever.
For he's there for the prediction. Like,
It
sorry,
is-
you beat
is-
you beat Kathy Lee Gifford's husband.
But I mean,
Whoa.
Hey, he had a great NFL career.
They didn't even have helmets. You
Well,
know? Yeah.
going back to NIL, this kind of brings this full circle. NIL is the reason behind Nick Saban's retirement. He said, listen, I can't go into a living room anymore and say, here's what we're going to do. We're going to get you ready to be a pro. I want to have a relationship with your dad and your mom. Now they ask, what can you do for me and how much are you going to pay me?
Casey,
Well,
like,
which
you
which
made
I
this
love
point
that
a while
because
ago
how
with Dabo
many of these
Swinney,
guys are
like,
actually
how
going to get to
hard
go
it is
pro? All the guys that are planning on going pro are going to go to Alabama, any of the big name schools. But now you've actually just leveled the playing field because now you get these guys that, yeah, maybe they are a 4-star recruit and they get to put a little bit of cash in their pocket. And what if they don't make it pro? Not to say that doesn't affect their work ethic once they get to college.
All right, Andrew,
but-
I'm going to put you in a position, right? Say you're a 5-star recruit coming out of Fall River, Massachusetts, and somebody offers you $250,000 to $300,000. They'll buy your family a house to go play at school X, and then school Y offers you $500,000. But school Y is their team sucks. They're on a rebuilding phase. What's the priority?
Whoa. Ready? It's Fall River. School Z. The mob says, hey, we're going to buy your house.
take
We're
a couple
gonna-
points off of this
we're gonna
game.
get your sister addicted to heroin, and then you're going to go where we tell you to go.
Yeah, I don't know. It really all depends because if I am a big name player, let's say I'm the number 1 overall recruit in the country, I don't think it really matters. Obviously you would want to go to that main blue chip school, but at the same time, I mean, you're seeing it with a lot of these guys that are going to like HBCU schools now because they already have the notoriety when they're in high school that they're just like, it doesn't matter.
With all these TV deals and all these streaming services, there's so much film that if you're good, like they're gonna find you.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like no one's not gonna know your name if you're not playing on CBS or ABC or NBC every Saturday afternoon. Like, if you're good enough, go ahead, go to the smaller school. You're gonna get on TV. You're gonna get found anyway.
Not only that, because
Make some money.
all the following right now is off of social media too. Television really is almost a secondary source for these guys to get exposure. It's literally
for the schools to pay them.
yeah.
Do you guys watch Full Swing? Have you seen the second season?
Is that the
It's in my
the
queue.
golf thing on
It's
Netflix?
I haven't seen.
golf
I've seen a
one.
little bit of it. I really haven't.
So it kind of reminds me of that guy Joel Damon. He was a tour pro, and he's a terrible tour pro. Like, barely makes any cuts. But because he's kind of a shithead and he likes to drink and he markets himself as like the everyday man's golfer.
John Daly.
Yes.
Yeah, his stock has gone through the roof. But he's not getting paid for golf now. Now he's like a celebrity. So now it's NIL deals. It's commercials.
Yep.
It's all about the marketing these days.
That's the beauty of it too, because you're looking at. I mean, let's look at like what Michael Jordan's contract was back in the day. He was getting paid year to year, and he only made that big money basically off of his very
Of
last
sneakers.
His very
Yeah.
last year with the Bulls is when they paid him like $30-some million, which was
And he was
massive
the
then.
first guy to get that,
Yeah,
too. First guy
but
to break that $30 million
Yeah,
mark.
and it didn't matter because all of his money was coming off of everything else. So now you're looking at a different version of that right now, where it's not just the shoes, it's the exposure, it's Instagram, it's TikTok, it's the Reels, and these guys are getting all of that, exposure because of those things.
OnlyFans.
Exactly. Might as well be.
Feet finder. Did you see Dabo was down here recently, wasn't it?
Yeah, you didn't see
Oh,
him.
yeah. Did you see
Did
the
you
picture?
see the
Did you
picture?
see the picture of
I
him with
don't
him?
think I did.
Oh, you didn't. I'll show you the picture.
Oh, we'll show you a picture when we go to break here. but yeah.
One of my
Yeah.
favorite moments actually at this bar was watching the Alabama Clemson game with Casey and Busy.
Oh, that was
Oh
a
my
time.
God,
On
that
that
photo
television.
that photo will live forever.
That photo's got to get super.
I got to see this photo.
That was one of my favorite moments up at this bar. I've never the tension in the air, the stress.
Cut it with a knife.
Casey was sweating when he came into this podcast, but he wasn't sweating quite as much as he was during that game.
Real quick, by the way, I know we were talking about it. Alabama, you're talking about like the Alabama, like elevating like singular players.
Yeah.
Right? Do you know who the first Alabama player to win a Heisman was?
Mark Ingram.
Yeah, 2010. Ever.
As a running back, too.
Fantasy bust. Perennial fantasy bust for me.
That's correct. The Saints, man, they ate him alive.
Yep.
Well, what do you say we take a little break and then hop back into it?
Sure.
We shall be right back.
Brilliant.
And welcome back to Two Dudes Sitting at a Sports Bar podcast at the Upstairs Bar and Grill in St. John in the U.S. Virgin Islands. We went to break, and Mooney starts rattling off something about Ricky Stenicki.
It's a good movie.
Is that what it's
no,
called?
Mr. Rhode Island over here. I didn't know if you had seen it or
is
not.
that what the
I
movie's called?
haven't, but I like the alliteration.
Is it worth watching?
Oh,
Give me-
like, I thought it was going to be stupid, but it was very good.
I like.
Number one of the podcast, Aaron Retzer, said it was a great movie.
I did not realize it was a Farrelly Brothers movie either.
Fairley Brothers,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Filmed in Rhode Island. It's all about Providence and stuff like that. And,
Dumb and Dumber.
John Cena is fucking hilarious.
Is it supposed to be a comedy? Or is
yeah,
it
no,
like
no, it's a comedy, yeah.
Because he was...
It's not like that comedy, The Iron Claw, that he was.
You guys started
describing.
talking about it, and I was
Yeah.
thinking that movie, and he goes, "Oh, it's the saddest
Well, he
movie
said-
ever."
he
He's like,
said
everybody
Zac
dies
Efron.
in it.
That's the only one I can remember.
And then
It's recent.
Casey
He's
just
musical. He's in that too. That's not really sad. Yeah.
Casey makes the comment. He goes, "Oh God, really?" He's like a movie about the wrestlers that all died. He's just like, "What a shocker!" And it
Dead Wrestler Beach, dude.
Yeah. Well, then in the Iron Claw, they had to leave out another brother that died because audiences didn't think that was real. But in real life, like they lost like an extra brother.
have you guys seen the Iron Claw yet?
I have not seen
Imagine
it yet,
being
no.
the dead brother who got left out of that movie.
I imagine he's pretty dead.
I imagine that he doesn't care.
Well, the only thing that I saw about it is how
You gonna go
jacked
tell him?
Zac Efron got for it. But is
Going
it
back to Ricky Stenicki, imagine having like the foresight to say, hey, you know what? Our last name's Stenicki. We're gonna do a little alliteration with the name.
No. You got to see the movie.
I don't
It's a-
believe
it's a-
that's
it's a made-up
alliteration.
name.
I think that's rhyming. I hate to grammar Nazi you there.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alliteration.
If anybody's
Alliteration
going
would be
to
like
do it,
Susie-
Alliteration would be like
Ricky
Caitlin
Ricardo.
Clark.
Yeah, Ricky
gives-
Rickety. Yeah.
Ricky Stenicki would be rhyming.
Rhyming. Okay.
Also, it's a made-up name they make up, so it's.
Yeah, but it's a person's
Well,
name.
I
like-
digress then.
Ah, well,
Nonetheless,
none, I have to
How
see
many
all. The,
Stenickies you know in Rhode Island? Huh?
well,
None.
now I have to
There's
watch.
there's a lot
Richard
If
Stenicki.
your name was Richard Stenicki, you'd probably go by Ricky Stenicki.
I go by
to at least
Dickie
your
Stenicki.
friends, right?
I go Dickie
Ooh,
Stenicki.
Dick
Dickie Stenicki?
Yeah.
There's
Right.
a lot. There's a
D
lot of
sticks.
people with
Right.
vowels at the end of their last name in Rhode Island. I'll give you that.
I started watching the Gentleman, not the movie, but
It's
the show.
fantastic.
How great is that?
I
That's
love
pretty
Guy
good.
Ritchie. Guy Ritchie's
It's like a
awesome.
6-hour Guy Ritchie movie. It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
I had like zero expectations, and like 20 minutes in, I was like, "This is fantastic."
I'm hooked.
Have you finished it yet?
I've got an episode and a half left. I think one episode left.
When he's like trying to they chase the guy through the woods, and he's texting on his phone.
Oh,
and it
yeah.
autocorrects.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, "What do you mean by this?" He goes, "It autocorrected."
Tackle Tommy Woo
Tackle
Woo.
Tommy Woo Woo. He goes, "What's that mean?" It autocorrected. I was
You
trying
guys
to
are
say.
you guys are never going to believe this, but I haven't seen that either.
It just came out.
I know.
Yeah, like
It's
it came out like
fantastic.
Monday.
What year did The Wire come out?
2004.
3? Yeah.
Okay, I have a lot of catching. I have 22 years of catching up to do with all this, but The Wire, Ricky Stenicki, The Gentleman.
Not the movie.
Not the movie, the show.
What was
The movie was
the
good
movie
too.
was also
What was
Guy
the movie?
Ritchie.
Was it?
It
Are
was
they
like
based?
Colin Farrell. It was another like Guy
Matthew
Ritchie,
McConaughey.
Guy Ritchie like gangster.
Yeah,
like
like-
Lock, Stock. Have you seen like Lock,
Snatch,
Stock and Two
like,
Smoking
is-
Barrels?
is he
Snatch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's Guy Ritchie movies. They're all
All right,
like
yeah.
English Layer Cake. They're all English gangster movies. where
Layer
they're
Cake-
like,
Layer
but
Cake
wait,
is
what
weird.
if I did this?
I didn't.
I don't have that.
I didn't
don't
like
have that
Layer Cake.
accent.
Layer Cake was really weird. It just didn't do it for me.
But there's like always a recap being like, this would have happened if I did this. And then they do like the.
Do you know what nemesis means?
And then it's
Oh,
like,
they pick
then
your
it's
soap
like
shop.
Don Cheadle with a sawed-off shotgun going like,
Yeah, they
you
always
don't
have,
want to
like-
do that, bloke.
They have like a Nas soundtrack in the back.
okay, all right, I can get into that. Have you guys got?
It was very well done.
Have you watched any of The Boys or Gen V?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Gen
Big
V.
fan.
That's another
No.
strange
Gen
show.
V was weird.
Gen V was really
The
weird.
Boys is fantastic.
I feel like they're over sexualizing it in a weird way.
With Gen V, yeah.
Yeah, it's so strange. Everything
about?
It's about like they're like these superheroes at like their own academy, and they're kind of training to be like a
like
part
X-Men?
of. It's almost like an NFL combine.
Have you seen The Boys?
Yeah.
Okay, so Gen V is like the boys' school.
It's like the combine
It's
for
the
them.
Oh, I think
school
I have
for
seen this,
superheroes.
or started to
It's
watch
only
it.
been one. It's all right.
Hey, I just started watching a show called Grey's Anatomy.
Ooh.
Yeah, man, I'm hooked.
Wow.
Ooh. What is it?
It's a show about surgical interns in Seattle, and let me tell you, this guy Mick Steamy that just arrived on the scene. There already is a McDreamy, so I think some tension might build up between these two guys.
It's going to take
I'm
you
only
a
season 2. So
it's going to take you a long time to
Man,
get through that.
Those Irish just ran out of names, huh?
Yeah, well, one of them joins the Navy in that show, The Last
Or is
Ship,
that
so I don't think
Scottish?
he's going to be around.
It
Mick,
could be.
Is Mick is that Irish or?
I think that's
gotta be
Irish.
Scottish.
Yeah.
Mick Steamy,
Could be both. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
We do have
I'll let you know what happens.
we do have St. Patty's Day coming up. Speaking of which,
And my birthday, back to
Yeah.
back.
when is your birthday again?
The day after St. Patrick's Day.
Day after
Hangover
St.
Day,
Patrick's
yeah.
Day.
Hey,
Well, no,
18th.
not even, because you have the parade on Saturday. You have actual St. Patrick's Day on Sunday,
And then Casey's birthday on Monday.
Casey Retzer's birthday on Monday. Are you taking any time off for that, or are you gonna go and get those nice birthday tips from everybody?
You should get some content, Casey.
I don't work Mondays. It's Dungeons and Dragons night.
Ah, okay, I got you. You guys are still doing that?
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
I've noticed there's been a lot of Facebook posts coming up on my feed about it, so I think I'm in the group.
No, I think it's just it's the algorithm.
2 damage.
It's the algorithm.
I've never played it in my life. I've seen people play it. It looks
great
really
time.
enjoyable, but I've never participated in it. I know that there's a lot of poker players love playing that.
He
There's
doesn't
a
roll.
lot of-
He doesn't roll on Sundays.
It's very tactical. There's a lot of
Over Shabbos.
tactical like
It's like Risk with wizardry.
I would I mean I don't want to get too into this because this is not our fan base.
But you don't
Yeah,
want to give
maybe
up
you have
your
a new fan
strategy.
base.
But you know
Yeah.
what? Maybe it could be. You know, I mean,
What's
it
up,
is.
nerds?
I mean, we have like, no, there's a couple like sports guys that I know that are in the group that are into it.
I think that
It
was
just-
that,
it's
is that
very
the one, that big
tactical,
die,
like-
the
Huh?
12-sided die or whatever.
It's a
Can we
20-sided
start-
die.
Can we start rolling with that? Like for the
I'll bring. I have so
Oh,
many
man.
20-sided dice.
that should be a new roll, like a local roll.
It would get up to like $1 million.
Yeah.
Oh, you had to match
Yeah.
like 3 20-sided dice.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Don't tell all these spring breakers that you got Dungeons and Dragons night on Monday. You might have to beat them off with a stick, Casey.
No, a sword or cast a spell.
That sounded great. That sounded great
Wizardry.
till you said the stick.
Yeah.
The wand.
Zap.
I don't know any of the terminology.
I don't know. Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, it's
I
all
just
right.
know 2 damage. and,
Wingardium Leviosa.
But so I had this idea walking down
another
the
guy
hill.
named Gary Potter that went to Afghanistan. Legas disappears.
So I have this survivor pool, obviously, for the for NCAA tournament. So I thought we could do like a little thing, maybe like an upset eliminator, where once after Selection Sunday, we pick, and you have to pick one team to advance to the second round, but it has to be higher than an 8 seed.
I would argue 11.
I'd say a 12 or 11.
The 12-5 matchup is one of
That's
my
always a weird
favorites
one.
in college
Whatever,
basketball.
but
it's
you
the same thing.
don't-
It's against the spread.
It just
too.
has to be an 8. No. Just
outright.
no. I wouldn't allow the 8-9. Maybe 10 or higher. A 10 or higher to win outright. Then the next you have to be a 4 seed or higher. Basically, you just pick one team to like it's like like a survivor pool in the NFL, but it's like
But you put money, you ride one wave. You put money on
then
this one
you would
team.
put one team, and then the next team, the next wave,
Next
you
week
would
you
have
pick-
to pick, but it'd
another.
have to be higher. It would always have to be higher.
And you
could
can't
never pick a favorite.
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying.
and you can't pick the same team twice. Is
I
it
would
kind of
allow it. I mean, if you wanted to, if like a 12 seed won the first round, and
You
like,
could-
you
you could
want
ride
to
them again the
ride with
next
that
week.
12, unless they
that's-
no, because unless they'd have to play like the 13 seed or whatever.
Yeah, true.
Then that wouldn't count. But I don't know.
No, I
I
think
was
it's just
workshopping
I
it.
think, I
like,
think it's definitely a
I
good
think it'd
idea.
just be fun just for us to do, like for like gentlemen's betting. you
That's
know,
going to
like-
be one of my favorite matchups is the 12-5 game because I feel like that's a lot of
It's always
low-lying
a
fruit.
weirdo-
I've never picked
it's always,
those right.
It's always a mid-major team at 12 that was way under.
Like
underlooked.
like Dayton, for example. I feel like Dayton out of the A10 is going to be one of those surprise teams.
Well,
just-
they're in the top 25 right now. I think they're like 24th in the country.
Yeah.
People don't look at the A10 as a conference that competes. You know what I mean? I feel like the A10 is often overlooked, but the way Dayton's playing right now, I'm buying Dayton stock, and I feel
I
all
over
should.
like a St.
my
Mary's
my
or-
sleeper right now. Just watching them play yesterday, McNeese State.
Yeah.
Going to be probably a 12 or a 13 seed.
What conference are they in?
They're in these, I believe, the CAA or the like
Sun
it's
Belt
like
or
the
something
no, it's
weird,
like
or-
it's like the Colonial or somewhere
it's
like
Richmond,
mid. Right, exactly.
yeah.
Like the no, it's the
Not
it's
Richmond, it's,
not the Missouri
Richmond's in the
Valley,
A10.
but the like
The other
it's
one.
like the it's like I want to say like
Horizon?
Horizon.
No.
It's like an HBCU like thing in the Mid Atlantic.
Where is McNeese?
It's in like Tennessee or Kentucky. I feel like it's where is that where
where, like,
John Morant went?
No, he went to.
It's around there. Maybe it's in
No, not
Alabama.
Memphis.
Like
He
it's
went
in
to
like Southern, maybe the Southern
it was-
Conference.
We should know this.
But anyway, like they
this
put up
week-
like
is this
90 in the
week's Eric Decker?
championship and like
That
look
we couldn't think of. Yeah.
No, where did John Morant go to school? He went
Memphis?
to.
No, he plays in Memphis. Fuck.
He went to a small state school.
Yeah, it's gonna drive me nuts. And it's probably in the same conference. But that one, they're probably in the same conference as like Chattanooga or something like that if it's all in that region. But McNeese State. And why do you think this? Did they just look solid? Do they have like a bunch of seniors? Are they?
bunch of seniors. They scored 95 points in a college game in the championship, held the other guys to 60.
Yeah.
They're 30-3 on the year.
So there's been a lot of talk about changing the layout
Murray
of the tournament.
State.
Murray State. Yep.
There's been a lot of talk about changing the layout of the tournament. I feel like
No.
they're changing the NFL schedule. They're changing the NBA schedule. I said if there's one thing that should never be touched,
The Southland Conference.
Okay. All right.
it's the layout of the NCAA tournament. The 68
I would
teams.
even.
Okay.
See, I don't like the playing games.
The playing
I
games
get
are
that 'cause you have so
unnecessary.
many conferences now that
Yeah, I agree. I can't stand the playing game.
But they should not expand that by any means. 64 teams is perfect. If they're they're probably 320 D1 college institutions in the United States. 64 teams is the perfect amount. That's what makes this tournament the most beautiful time of year
Yeah.
for sports fans.
And isn't it enough that a lot of these conferences include every single team in the postseason conference tournament? Like, I think that's ridiculous. I don't think you should be in your
No, you
conferences.
should. No, because that's the whole thing. Everyone has a chance. If you go
One shining
if you
moment.
go 14-0, you win the
best.
national championship. It doesn't matter what what conference you're in. If you win your your conference championship,
Yeah, I'm fine with that, but based on your regular season
Doesn't
performance,
matter.
I don't think you should have a
No,
shot at it at all.
I-
And
I-
now,
I-
just to
I-
piggyback
I
what
like-
he
I like the
everyone
guaranteed
should
bids.
have a chance.
No, I like the
Is
guaranteed
that,
bids.
that
I'm fine.
chance is 0.0. I mean, if we're talking a 10 seed
I want a Duquesne,
from the
Kentucky,
Southland
like,
Conference to come
Yeah.
in and then go to a 16.
Yeah.
First of all, I have to win a 16-16 playoff game, and then or play-in game, and then you have to go in and then win.
and then you have to
Well,
Farley
forget-
Dickinson
six
somebody.
game-
A lot of
no,
time-
and then win the whole fucking thing.
But a lot of time, the
Everyone
playing game's
should
an
have
11
a
versus
chance.
11. They
Okay.
make that too, and I hate that.
But they had to do that because they make two of the playing games 16-16s.
That's the opening games. Those are the first
I still hate the playing
The-
games.
The thing is, it makes sense if you think about it because the two 16-16 things allow for basically two teams that should not be in the tournament to be in the tournament. Almost four teams where it's like, oh, if you won
You won the Sun Belt.
no,
or
dude,
the-
like you were the 5th place team in the Horizon League and you stumbled into this tournament like, yeah, dude.
Well,
Yeah,
what
you-
is?
you gotta- yeah.
Play this team to see if you're even worthy of playing Kansas.
I think we've looked this up before. Looked up the rules on it. There's a weird criteria for that play-in game. Why they do it to make it to 68 teams.
But it's also then there's an 11 and a 12. I
I think it's 11.
It's
One
11. One
It's
of
a
them's an 11.
yeah.
One of them's a 12. Where it's the last four It's basically the last four in, are the last four mid-major schools or Power 5 schools to get in, so they can have a chance to get in there where they wouldn't have made it anyways.
Yeah, but I mean, to piggyback off of what Tyler was saying is they don't need to expand it. 64 teams. I think
68
was,
is
yeah. It's
a
fine.
lot smarter fucking people than us came up with that number.
But then I was parlaying that
I
into
don't know, man.
the conference tournament. I don't think every single team in the conference should have
I
a chance to
disagree.
win the conference after the regular season. That's
you don't win the conference. You win. It is your last chance to bolster your resume.
All right, let's put it on record right now. Who is your national champion this year? Who are
Kentucky.
you riding with?
Kentucky.
Well, you got
Dillingham
you
is
got to
gonna-
think of the Blue Bloods.
Dillingham,
I mean,
Thrillingham.
UNC is what, 4th in the country right now,
UNC's hot right now,
and they
too.
probably have a plethora of athletes that I can only
and
imagine.
Armando Berca is like 34 years old. playing against
Perfect.
college
That's what
kids.
you want. You want a man playing against kids.
Yeah, he's a Jerry McNamara of North Carolina.
Yeah. Just looking just at the rankings right now. Yeah, Blue Bloods, UConn,
So you're riding
UNC.
with UNC.
I'm thinking UNC
I'm going straight chalk, homie. Give me Purdue.
Purdue. All right. So you
I
got-
want because
with Frankenstein in the middle.
fuck Frankenstein, dude. Well, they do have they have good guard play too. Also, I think after they got embarrassed and lost a 116 game, it's that same team coming back, and you come back with a fucking vengeance.
They
And
got that cool dance at Purdue too. You see that? They do like the
Gangnam
why don't you
Style?
show us? Yeah.
something like that.
I'm not a TikTok
Saturday
guy.
Night Fever.
Sorry.
Like,
No, but
Maybe
it's-
that's why I didn't make it as an influencer. I'm not a TikTok guy,
We'll talk about that. We'll get some. more
unless
thoughts
it's
on that.
Kesha songs.
all right, so you got Purdue. Who do you got?
I got UConn. I'm gonna ride hard with the Big East. I mean, that's obviously a little bit of bias, but I feel like UConn is the most complete team. They have Donovan Clingan in the middle, Stephen Castle. I hate Dan Hurley, but they're well coached. The kid Cam Spencer, short little white dude who finds his shot. He is incredible. I mean, he's averaging 18 points a game in Big East play. Creates his own shot. They're deep. They're experienced. They're the reigning national champion. I think UConn goes back to back.
Mooney kind of shook his head when he heard UConn. You were kind of going.
No, I'm just saying I think they lose today. That's all. Yeah. And like I said, I'm riding Kentucky. I like Dillingham. I think he's be a good NBA player too.
It's good to know UConn's been a national champion. UConn has not won the Big East tournament since 2010.
Well, how long was it not a conference?
Wow, that's the last time the first time Alabama's won a Heisman.
Fact-
what a
fact
great
to it
full
Thursday,
circle.
huh?
what a great back to like a stretch that there's only been 1 year in between
Full circle.
Alabama's first Heisman and UConn's last.
Big East champion.
Big
That
East
Betty White
championship.
sliced bread thing, you know? Yeah.
We keep picking real shitty to this death pool, guys.
Well,
Also,
also,
is Jimmy Carter still? Oh wait, so hang on.
okay, he doesn't know about.
If we expanded, speaking of expanding pools, if we expanded this to coincide with March Madness, we decided we're going to call it March Sadness.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
So Tyler, we started a Deadpool in Jesus. When was that?
And
October,
You can't pick me.
September or October. So you had to pick an A-list celebrity, somebody that wasn't old, but they could be
you can
oldish.
pick old, yeah.
But
You
somebody
got a
that was
male
gonna,
and a female. You got one of each.
And then a
male,
wild
female, and then a wild card. So you couldn't pick somebody like Bruce Willis, who already
Who
know that
actually
they're
would
kind
probably
of
be a pretty good
you know,
pick.
somebody that you know is already dead. But you could pick somebody that was old. We missed out on Henry Kissinger. We missed out on I don't even know.
Rosalind Carter.
Yeah. So I picked I don't even remember. Bam Margera's my wild card. Just somebody that's probably younger that you don't know or hear about, but going to die.
So you're betting on Bam Margera, who's
I
doing
also-
great right now,
Well,
to relapse.
He's
For now.
I saw him in a wheelchair
Yes.
the other day.
Oh,
online.
yeah.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you for sharing
I
that.
had for my female, I had Helen Mirren, and my A was or my guy was I don't even remember. He's got Jimmy Carter.
I have Jimmy Carter, Sophia Loren, and Takashi 6ix9ine.
Jimmy Carter's like 109 years old.
Yeah,
That's
and
not
he's
fair.
still
I have-
going
I
to
have
the house
these days.
buildings.
already. They just
I
keep
have-
rolling them out.
I have
yeah.
they
No
got
one,
about-
no one survives hospice
They
for over a
use
year.
they use the same tool that you guys wheel in the cases of beer to get the beer in upstairs to
I
get
have-
Jimmy
it's-
Carter
it's
out to public
unbelievable.
appearances.
I have Mel Brooks. I want to say like Jane Fonda.
We just brought up the list recently.
I can't remember it.
Who
And
had-
then-
nobody had Dolly Parton there or anything.
No,
Is that a good one?
no, that'd be me.
No.
Dude, she just did the fucking
Yeah, she looks
Yeah,
great.
she crushed it,
Like,
too.
Thanksgiving halftime show.
She crushed
Why
it.
not? But plastic is plastic. I mean, she
It's
Yeah,
got a
she's
good
up
point.
there.
Lasts forever.
She's gonna be what, 80-something years old?
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
Christopher Walken, respectfully.
yep, that would be a good one. But I feel like he's just
Someone
had.
had him.
He
I
was
feel
just
like.
he was just in that guy
in.
Richie,
No, he was just in. He was in the Outlaws.
the Outlaws.
But he was also just in Dune 2, which I saw in theaters and IMAX. Fantastic movie.
Heard it
Did
was
you-
one of the best
Did you
sci-fi
get-
Tell
Did
me
you get
about the
movies of all time.
popcorn.
Did you get the popcorn
I
bucket?
didn't fuck the popcorn. They didn't have it at the theater.
The popcorn
I
bucket
obviously
fucked me.
would've. I would have gotten
No
the popcorn,
popcorn,
bucket
extra butter?
if they had it. But
You can slather it right over the.
Who designed that? Who was just like, hey, this is a good idea?
It's great
See if it
marketing.
works.
Whoever did, it's great marketing because it gets talked about.
What, the popcorn bucket or the
Any
popcorn
any
trick?
press is good press.
both. A combination. Like if you combine the two. Whoa.
It's like, check this out.
All right, so
Yeah.
if you're gonna Rotten Tomatoes Dune 2, what you got for me?
Oh, I mean, like
Was it better than the
percentage-wise?
original?
Beeman told me it was one of the best movies he's ever
Are we,
seen.
are we talking about
And that's
better
what they're
than
saying in the-
better
in the
than
news.
better
Yeah,
than
occasionally
Dune
say
Part
that.
1?
So we were talking
Are
about.
you talking about better than Dune Part 1?
Does every good movie need to be 3 hours now?
That Dune did.
Okay, it did. Okay,
Dune
it was
did.
necessary for it to be that
That-
long.
But like,
well, that was-
I watched Oppenheimer on the way down. That's a 3-hour movie. It's a very slow movie. It's a good movie, but it's 3 hours. Killers of the Flower Moon, great movie.
Oppenheimer had too much crap in there they didn't
Okay.
need. I'm not gonna lie.
So
Yeah.
Too
I don't-
psychological.
so, like,
too
the
much-
The Irishman, 3 hours.
Not
Does
good.
Every
No, that
single,
was
The
not
Irishman
good.
was. The Irishman.
but
was
does
That was
every
CGI
every
in The
new
Irishman.
movie need to be 3
so this
hours?
was. I mean, Dune was written about and I'm sure I might get fat. No one's gonna do that. Like I want to say it's written about like a 500 or 600, or it's made about a 500 or 600 page book. So when David Lynch did the original in 1984, he had a 3.5 hour cut of this movie, and the studio was like, "No fucking way, you're doing this!" And so he had to cut it down to
Dune
2
and-
hours.
yeah.
He took his name off the movie. That's why it's directed by whatever they fucking
I just read a book about this.
the name
The
that
name
directors
and then-
use
yeah, fuck.
to I can't.
John Smith.
No, it's like
It's a great name, and I'll
Huge
look it up.
ass.
but then like then it turned out there was someone's name that fuck.
It's a fake
It's a
director's
fake
name that
director
you
that they
use
use
when
when-
you want to
yeah.
take your name off the movie.
A pseudonym.
Because
I'll
he
tell you what it
didn't
is.
like that. So the Dune director's cut ended up being 3 hours. Felix hates it. I made him watch it drunk at like 2:00 in the morning when I was
What,
living.
Dune?
I
with him.
hate it too.
The
because
original
the exact
1984
same
Dune.
thing.
Yeah,
Oh, the
you were
84
there.
one.
You talked over the entire thing, and that's why I'll never watch it. Ever again.
Yeah. Well, I was.
That sounds very out of
wow.
character for
It was
Casey.
shockingly 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yeah, but you were talking about cinematography, and Felix and I just trying to watch the goddamn movie. And you
Who
were
could
just
eat at a time like this?
So the 1984 one is don't watch it, but the one from
Well,
2021.
I thought it. I still like the 1984 one, but between Dune Part 1 and Dune Part 2, I mean, you're probably looking at 5 hours of movie in between them. But it's a good.
I think that's fine
So-
though.
so
For
you're
me,
gonna-
that's
it's a good
fine.
5, and that's
even
why
watch The
you
Wire.
need a
Come
little
on.
break.
Are
That's
you gonna
hours.
answer the Rotten Tomatoes question?
I-
episodes.
Did you say was it better than Dune Part 1?
give me your rating.
Oh, I'd put it over 95%. I would
Wow.
say like a 97, 98%.
Wow,
And that's just because I don't believe in 100%.
it was that
That's
good.
fair.
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, as a big fan of
I
Dune,
am-
the book, and thought it was very true to the book, and obviously they had to make some changes.
Concessions.
The book was made in like 1956, so
All right, I definitely.
some of that technology that they thought in 1956 was going to happen, it's like, oh shit, we invented that in 1992. Like, ugh. What is this cell phone this guy's using?
Where's my flying car? That's what I want to know. Where's my flying car?
So definitely would recommend.
Oh, I
about-
mean, if you're into sci-fi, like actual sci-fi,
I do love me
Yeah.
some Timothy Chalamet. So
Is that who's in it?
it's Zendaya. You get a little too much Zendaya.
Spider-Man's girlfriend.
But I mean, like, you
Olivia was
gotta-
telling me it was weird. She watched the first one and she goes, you know, Zendaya gets like a lot of credit for being one of the main characters in the first one. She goes, she
She's-
literally has like one line.
because
That's the best role.
They
though.
just use her image and then
well,
her name,
she's-
image, and likeness.
She's the second lead character in Dune Part 2 is why.
Okay,
So it was.
so they were setting it up for the second one
Yeah.
for the most part. All right,
It's like in the original, or what was that, Spider-Man: Homecoming, or whatever the first one was. Like Zendaya wasn't really in that, and then they just keep on Zendayaing you, and it's like, look, it's Zendaya. I feel like you can it's that one-word name. It's just like
yeah, well, yeah, it's
It's
a name
like
brand.
Cher,
It's, yes, it's a name brand.
Madonna,
Yeah.
Mooney.
McLovin. All right, well, I'll hop it. Once again, something else that I need to
Well,
watch.
here's a good one. What's the most polarizing one-name athlete ever?
Mooney.
Is it Pele?
Mooney.
Is it George? Like
he hate me.
Good question. I got to think about that one.
What do you mean polarizing? Like
well, like Pele. Goes
you
by
can't
one
you
name?
can't let
Yeah.
Brazilian soccer players into that because they all only go by one name.
That's true.
Seriously, like if you go by two names, it's because it's your name and then you're adding another guy's name behind it that used to play for that.
I don't know. LeBron.
No, that's not a.
No, he's
That's
in a last
LeBron
name.
James.
LeBron, yeah.
That is the king.
LeBron James.
The chosen one. I don't know.
It's an Ohio thing, isn't it?
Probably. No. Maybe. I don't say. I have no idea. I can't think. What is that? Where at? Oh, down in there. That makes
Okay,
sense.
so yeah, this was fun.
I mean, like I can only with one name people I can only think of
Share.
Brazilian soccer players.
So it's just the entire country of
Neymar?
Brazil is the most polarized one name.
Well, no, that's just
Ronaldo?
it's like
Wait,
Brazilian culture is you kind of like as you're going up through these Brazilian training programs, you like have a name, you like it's like a Catholicism, like a communion or I don't know,
Got that?
Do you wanna talk-
confirmation name. Where it's like no, this is what I go by now or something. I don't know. I didn't do confirmation. That's a whole nother story. But it's like
Well, you
no,
had to-
you shed your name and you become this, the Brazilian soccer player Neymar. I'm
Matthew Neymar,
Ronaldinho,
yeah.
which is like tiny Ronaldo or like new Ronaldo, young Ronaldo. I don't know. I feel like you guys are making me just trail here.
You brought it up.
I did
Oh, no,
not.
you brought-
Tyler did.
All right, so I'll segment. Do you guys want to talk a little bit about NFL free agency?
Well,
And
yeah,
what's going on with this
because I kind of
tampering
want to
period?
touch on the tampering with the Eagles and the Giants right now, which honestly, who cares?
The,
Trade
the
fees.
NFC
Yeah.
East is a fucking mess.
It is, but now the Eagles have just gotten much better with Saquon going there. The Giants,
How about
God
Tiki
knows what
Barber,
the hell's
dude?
going
What
on
is
with
he
that.
doing?
Tiki Barber's been mad ever since he left the
Fumbling
Giants.
stuff?
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
having a car
Literally,
dealership,
yeah,
It's-
fumbling the bag.
He might be the most angry retired NFL player that you wouldn't expect to be because he had like such a clean record when he was in the NFL, and then he got out and they're like, this guy's actually really fucking mad about everything. Plus, they started winning Super Bowls and everything once he left.
His brother Rondé got the good hair, so
Aren't they both bald?
yes.
Okay.
That's the joke.
You know who I think is actually going to be a pretty solid team this year if they can get any quarterback play is the Tennessee Titans. That's DeAndre Hopkins and Calvin Ridley now,
Who in there?
Mason Rudolph just got sent
yeah.
there.
No, but who were
Reunited
there-
the Falcons.
and they
Who's
Who's
picked
the
up.
tight end that just went there?
Well, they got Deontay.
No, you're thinking that's Mason Rudolph, not Kyle
Oh.
Rudolph. But Tony Pollard went there,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
who's
He's-
like
and
a
he's only-
Tony Pollard with something to prove.
And he's only 26 years old. I thought Tony Pollard
He
was like
was crushing
38.
it in
Yeah.
Dallas.
He had one good year, then he had a bad year last year. Sorry, a not good enough for Dallas year last year.
Does this mean that the Milton used to be on the podcast? Does this mean that the Deuce Vaughn era now begins in Dallas? Now that they didn't get any running backs, Tony Pollard's gone. Dallas
Yeah,
didn't do shit in free agency.
They're also- they're
they don't have the money to.
They are
Yeah, it's true.
27th in the NFL with the amount of available cap space that they have.
Dallas is?
27th.
'cause
so
they-
they're
they
leaning
still-
very
they still-
heavy on
they
the
still
draft.
Was it Trey Lance's that his rookie deal's still on there?
Correct. So they're
They don't have money to do shit.
Yeah.
well, they have to lean on the draft. So if you're a Dallas fan and you want immediate results, you're not going to get them unless Dak takes his level to a whole nother echelon. You are relying on the
he's-
draft.
Is
Hey,
he?
there's one
Yes.
one position that you can always get pretty good on out of the draft in the first year, and that's fucking running
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
I'm telling you, 27th in the NFL right now. That's where their cap space lies.
Offensive line, running back.
Well, they're pretty solid at offensive line right now.
Yeah, and they were last year too, till fucking 3 of their guys got down to
Yeah,
injury.
and also, when is Dak's contract up? Is it this year? Or
not
is it?
soon enough if you're a
Yeah.
Dallas fan.
Yeah, I'm kind of sick of that experiment for him. Even though I'm not a Dallas fan, I'm just looking at it. I'm like, it is
So
ugly.
here's a question out of curiosity, and looking at the Russell Wilson situation is kind of a precarious investment. Where does the buck stop? How high is too high? Where do these contracts end?
Well, here's
One
the thing,
day
though.
I took like 50 milligrams of edibles by accident, and I don't smoke a lot. I would say that's too high for me.
That's too high.
But well, here's the thing, though. Like, look at Patrick
One
Mahomes.
too many.
Patrick Mahomes' contract. It's like they sign it all up front, and then over the course of the contract, they can kind of restructure.
There has to be like
They can
triggers
restructure
in there
it. So that would be
where-
like you taking the 50 milligrams all at once, and then restructuring after it kicks in. Be like, oh, 10 milligrams of it just kicked in. I'm going to save the rest of it for later on so I could give some to my buddy right now.
But if you're
It's-
investing 25% of your cap space into one position, like where you have to draw a line.
Well,
somewhere.
I think
If
when
it's
the next
getting
CBA
there.
comes up, I mean, because like with the cap just went up like $40 million or whatever this year.
Well,
per
yeah, because
team.
of how much TV money they're getting.
But
They're-
that's it. But I think once the CBA is up, this new one right now, you're going to see the pushback the other way, where it's going to be like, hey, you're already at this, and even if they sign a new TV deal, probably the revenue. This guy.
I don't see it stopping.
It can't be a percentage. I guarantee the owners, it can't be a percentage anymore. It's going to be like a cap number, where that they're giving to the players. It's
See,
Because
but
it can't just be
I don't think
escalator,
I don't think the
escalator,
players will
escalator.
ever agree to that though.
Well, we're talking about.
Unless they expand and you add like 2 or 3 more teams.
they may have to strike because
you
I
know?
don't think the players would ever agree to that
Oh,
because
no,
they
we-
love
we-
to make
it'll
one
be a
more.
lockout. They'd have to
yeah,
lock 'em out.
and it's collusion too because the players do it on purpose. So when
It's-
one guy makes 250, the next one can make 251, 252, and they just keep going up. They do it for themselves, which I don't blame them for.
Yeah.
But the players, union reps, and the players will never agree to that.
One-
cap per
if you
position.
add 2 teams, you got to talk fucking division realignments.
Yeah.
You got to go back to maybe like the
You're-
old
you're
AFC
looking at
Central,
it-
AFC
yes.
West, AFC East.
Bring back
which
the
honestly
Oilers.
Might
You're
not be
expanding
might not
the
be a bad
playoffs.
idea.
I don't think so. I think that'd be a good
You're
idea.
moving the
Fuck, you
playoffs,
got extra
you're-
weeks now
yeah.
too. Like
You're
whatever.
looking
Yeah,
at, you
play
got to
each
throw an extra
other.
bye week in there. I bet. I don't know. It's a different discussion for a different day. But
yeah.
Well, one of the interesting conversations.
Oh
and-
my God! Wait, hang on. 37 teams. You play each team once. Is that why they did it?
Wait, what are you talking about?
Well, when they made the week 7, they made it a 17 game season. So if there's 34 teams, they add 2 more teams. You can just play each team once. Divisions are no longer a thing, and you go off record alone.
my math hurts.
I know. I mean, based on what you said, it makes sense. I got to look at it on
Well,
paper.
no, you couldn't
but
play. No, you couldn't play each team once, but you could play. Each team would have a 17 game schedule.
It's a
Never
traveling
mind.
nightmare.
Cut that out. No, I'm trying to. Yeah,
No,
but
it's
like
going on
whatever.
there.
They're on fucking planes, man.
Yeah. No.
Dude, they're talking about putting teams in London. It's going to be a traveling nightmare no matter what. They're playing games in fucking Munich.
Do you think
Mexico
they're
City,
really
They're playing
considering
games
putting
in
a team over
Mexico
there, though?
City.
Mexico City, yeah.
Yeah, if they're expanding overseas. They're putting a team
Well,
in
I
Mexico
get that,
City. They're
but I
putting a
think
team
it's-
in London.
Yeah. I just still don't see them ever putting a team over in London. I don't see the NFL right now
And then
as that
cut,
worldwide
then
of a
you
brand.
cut it in. You cut it in half. Would that work?
7 divisions.
It's
You
gonna
cut
be-
it in-
it's
you
gonna
cut
be-
it in
A-
half.
Asia, Europe,
There's 17,
North America.
There's 17 West, 17 East.
You know who's gonna
All
do
the
it? It's
East
it's
play each
John
other,
Henry.
All the West play each other.
John Henry.
It's gonna be. I'm telling you, it's gonna be
Yeah,
the.
but
It's
you
gonna
gotta
be
take
the John
yourself out
Henry
for it.
Sports Group.
It'd be
The Boston Red
36
Sox.
36
They own
teams.
Liverpool. They have the resources
18
over there.
West.
I'm trying to figure out the math on Casey's thing right now.
36
And I'm
teams,
literally
18
gonna have-
West, 18 East. You play 17 games because you don't play yourself.
And all the teams have a good time in the end, and they're all friends.
I'm just saying, this is
all
what
sing
we're working
Kumbaya
for.
by the fire.
Mark it down. This is March star date, March 14th,
Birthday week.
11:52
Birthday
a.m.
week.
That's what we're working for. Mexico City team, Canadian Vancouver team. Ooh, Munich, London. Split it down the middle.
Casey,
East-West
give me the
divide.
names of these teams.
The London Tea Party. The Mexico City.
Propa
Oh, the London Fog.
I like that.
Yeah.
The Mexico City Banditos.
No.
Cartel. The Mexico City
yeah.
Cartel.
No, I mean back in the day, if
No,
you,
no,
if,
but
if,
it's
the,
like-
if,
it's
the,
like- yeah,
if the
with a
Washington
K.
Bullets still existed, yes, I'd give you that. But
What if it's Cartel? Yeah, Cartel with a K.
Yeah.
okay, that's cute. Kids will get into it.
Let's see. The Vancouver Canucks. I think they switched. They changed between the two.
Well, yeah, no, I like they
And
can do
double
that.
down.
And
Yeah.
the Munich Nazis.
Bam. We got ourselves a
Yeah.
podcast.
That's a lead,
Yeah,
baby.
and I think that's yeah.
That's a podcast.
That is a podcast for you, ending with a Nazi joke.
Is it a
I
joke?
did not see that coming.
No, it's
Yeah.
well. I think we should wrap it up then.
I just got the
I think
look,
we
so
ran
yeah.
out of steam.
The Munich Stormtroopers.
No, Casey.
We'll see you guys next time.
Yeah.